The first thing that we did was a diagnostic, and that diagnostic helped us kind of, I guess, compare us, benchmark us against the industry, other markets, other industries, capability of people, certain areas. So how was our strategy, how was our sales and marketing, how was our HR, etc., etc. That was a very challenging thing to do because, you know, whilst I knew we weren't particularly good, it's kind of a little bit disarming when you get a C- on your scorecard. So, but it was, you know, it was good because we were then able to identify those areas that, you know, perhaps we were doing okay, and it highlighted the areas where we thought we were doing well, but we actually weren't, and that was probably the most important part. The revenue school was a 3-day process. The first day, and literally it took all day, was to come up with a problem that we solved better than anyone else. And you know, the guys at the team warned us that this was how long it would take and that it would be very frustrating and that we probably wouldn't, you know, we may not get there in a day. Fortunately we did, and it's frustrating, but it's critical because once you understand what you're trying to solve, and then you can start to say, well, how and what do we have to do to solve that problem? So the first day is all about that. And the second and third days are all about the plan. And so, whilst it feels like it takes a long time, you actually come out of that process with one plan. You know, we had a plan, the plan on the page, and it talks about each channel, talks about our financial objectives. It has what are who are the primary targets, primary, secondary and tertiary targets. Who are we targeting? Carers, therapists. Who are the key influencers? What do we need to do? You know, who are our key competitors? How are we differentiated versus our key competitors? And all of these are it's information that you would expect any organisation to understand. But I bet you everyone who goes through this process will learn something, and they'll have whatever they thought it was, it will be different. Something will be. So, you know, I would say there's great value in doing it. Actually, the first thing that we did was work with Prova profiling to understand the capability of our team and who was who and what they could do and who should be where and so forth. And we did that when we were going through the channel changes, which were as a result of meeting with both Prova and RPM. It was very illuminating, actually. I mean, we actually turned out that we had most people in the right locations or the right channels, but it was just a real eye-opener for us and for them about, you know, where the skills and capability gaps were. And so once we went through that process over a long period of time, and we now use Prova profiling for all of our staff. It's a great tool that we find very useful. And phase 1, as I said earlier, it was all about developing the information and the tools. So a lot of it is very grunty, heavy, boring work, which is creating this template, talking about what's the ideal customer profile, who's the ideal dealer profile, what's an ideal user, what does a carer look like, all that sort of thing, or the sales and marketing collateral. And so we created all that, and that just takes a lot of time. And this is where that level of frustration came in that I talked about earlier, because, you know, maybe someone went away and they did the work and then they were told it's not really good enough. We need to do it again and again and again. And so, and they've got their day job, you know, still got to sell product or do product planning in, you know, things. So it is a challenge. But the key was having a dedicated resource as a manager and a project management office. They were the two key things for us to do.